Hawaii, accused Attorney General William Barr of lying to Congress and tells him that he should resign. But don't take our word for it. Here's the audio from CNN.
Mr. Barr, now the American people know that you are no different from Rudy Giuliani or Kellyanne Conway or any of the other people who sacrificed their once decent reputation for the grifter and liar who sits in the Oval Office. You once turned down a job offer from Donald Trump to represent him as his private attorney. At your confirmation hearing, you told Senator Feinstein that, quote, the job of Attorney General is not the same as representing, end quote, the president. So you know the difference, but you've chosen to be the president's lawyer and side with him over the interests of the American people. To start with, you should never have been involved in supervising the Robert Mueller investigation. You wrote a 19-page unsolicited memo, which you admit was not based on any facts, attacking the premise of half of the investigation.
I want to stop it there right for a quick minute.
You bet.
Right there, admitted that he wrote this 4-page summary and didn't even read the damn report.
Imagine that. Could you absolutely discredit yourself any worse?
This would be like somebody writing a Cliff Notes version of a book, having never read the book.
Yeah.
What the hell? All right, I'll continue here.
And you also should have insisted that Deputy Attorney General Rob Rosenstein recuse himself. He wasn't just a witness to some of the president's obstructive behavior. We now know he was in frequent personal contact with the president, a subject of the investigation. You should have left it to career officials. Then, once the report was delivered by the special counsel, you delayed its release for more than 2 weeks. You let the president's personal lawyers look at it before you even deigned to let Congress or the public see it. During the time, you substituted your own political judgment for the special counsel's legal conclusions in a 4-page letter to Congress. And now we know, thanks to a free press, that Mr. Mueller wrote your letter objecting to your so-called summary. When you called Mueller to discuss his letter, the reports are that he thought your summary was giving the press, Congress, and the public a misleading impression of his work. He asked you to release the report summaries to correct the misimpression you created, but you refused. When you finally did decide to release the report over a congressional recess and on the eve of 2 major religious holidays, you called a press conference to once again try to clear Donald Trump before anyone had a chance to read the special counsel's report and come to their own conclusions. But when we read the report, we knew Robert Mueller's concerns were valid and that your version of events was false. You used every advantage of your office to create the impression that the president was cleared of misconduct. You selectively quoted fragments from the special counsel's report, taking some of the most important statements out of context and ignoring the rest. You put the power and authority of the Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice behind a public relations effort to help Donald Trump protect himself. Finally, you lied to Congress. You told Representative Charlie Crist that you didn't know what objections Mueller's team might have to your March 24th so-called summary. You told Senator Chris Van Hollen that you didn't know if Bob Mueller supported your conclusions. But you knew. You lied. And now we know. A lot of respected nonpartisan legal experts and elected officials were surprised by your efforts to protect the president. But I wasn't surprised. You did exactly what I thought you'd do. It's why I voted against your confirmation. I expected you would try to protect the president, and indeed you did.
Hang on, I want to pause that, because this is the same behavior that he engaged in
with Bush,
with Reagan, with Bush,
yep,
with the Iran-Contra affair.
He's the cleanup hitter.
Yeah.
You bring him in. He's been brought in.
This is nothing new, and I think this is what Senator Hirono was getting to.
1989. This isn't something you hadn't done before. In 1989, when you refused to show Congress an OLC opinion that led to the arrest of Manuel Noriega. In 1992, when you recommended pardons for the subjects of the Iran-Contra scandal. And last year, when you wrote the 19-page memo telling Donald Trump as president, can't be guilty of obstruction of justice and then didn't recuse yourself from the matter. From the beginning, you were addressing an audience of one, that person being Donald Trump. That's why, before the bombshell news of yesterday evening, 11 of my Senate colleagues and I called on the Department of Justice Inspector General and Office of Professional Responsibility to investigate the way you have handled the Mueller report. I wanted them to determine whether your actions complied with the department's policies and practices and whether you have demonstrated sufficient impartiality to continue to oversee the 14 other criminal matters that the special counsel referred to in other parts of the Department of Justice. But now, we know more about your deep involvement in trying to cover up for Donald Trump. Being Attorney General of the United States is a sacred trust. You have betrayed that trust. America deserves better. You should resign. I have some questions for you. Is the White House exerting any influence on your decision whether to allow Special Counsel Mueller to testify in Congress and when?
No.
Now, you've been clear today that you don't think that any of the 10 episodes of possible obstruction that the special counsel outlined is a crime. I disagree. But you seem to think that if it's not a crime, then there's no problem. Nothing to see here, nothing to worry about. So, with apologies to Adam Schiff, do you think all of the things that President Trump did are okay? Are they what the President of the United States should be doing? For example, do you think it's okay for a president to fire an FBI director to stop him from investigating links between his campaign and Russia? It may not be a crime, but do you think it's okay?
Well, I think the report is clear that...
No, I'm not talking about the report and analysis of whether a crime occurred. I'm asking you.
I don't think
this is not a crime, but do you think it's okay for the president to do what he did, to fire the special counsel to keep him from investigating?
To do what he did, and I don't think the evidence supports the proposition.
So I guess you think it's okay
to stop the investigation.
Do you think it's okay for a president to ask his White House counsel to lie?
Well, I'm willing to talk about what's criminal.
Hold on a second. Yeah, he's stammering because he knows that he's getting caught in a trap here. Unbelievable.
See, Barr and Cheney, who, by the way, Biden just said he likes Cheney, but Barr and Cheney have a gravitas. That's all they have. When asked about this guy standing in front of these Democrats, Tucker Carlson, I think it was Tucker Carlson, said, or no, it was Chris Wallace on Fox News, said, hey, he's a tough guy. He can give it out as good as he gets it. And that's Cheney, and that is Barr's gift to the corrupt political world. They can sit there like Jabba the Hutt. They do not get tangled up. They just put out a one-word answer with that snappy, snide, crappy statement, and somehow it flies. She just threw a barrage of information that proves, and he in one word, because of the way he says it, no. Do you appreciate what I'm saying about Cheney? I used to say this years ago. Cheney has a demeanor that's bulletproof. You can throw shit at him, and there's not one speck, sorry about that, that lands on these turkeys.
No. They get up smelling like a rose. They can roll in manure and smell like a rose coming out. I want to play a little bit more of this, so let's continue here.
But we've already acknowledged that you think it was not a crime. I'm just asking whether you think it's okay. Even if it's not a crime, do you think it's okay for the president to ask his White House counsel to lie? Look, if you're just going to go back to whether or not it's a crime, you're telling me that it's okay. Let me ask you the last question that I have in 17 seconds. Do you think it's okay for a president to offer pardons to people who don't testify against him, to threaten the family of someone who does? Is that okay?
When did he offer a pardon to someone?
I think you know what I'm talking about. Please.
What do you mean?
Please, Mr. Attorney General, give us some credit for knowing what the hell is going on around here with you.
Not really. to this line of questioning.
So
Listen, you've slandered this man.
Yeah, what I sort of
Every
want to
way
know
you
is
can
how do we
slander
get to this point?
Yeah,
I do not think that
how do
I'm
we get to the
slandering
point where
anyone.
All I can say,
Mr. Chairman, I am done. Thank you very much.
And you slandered this man from top to bottom. So if you want more of this, you're not going to get it. If you want to ask him questions, you can't.
That's Lindsey Graham there, by the way. I don't know if you want to call it trying to chastise Senator Hirono or what. But, yeah, Lindsey Graham's a scumbag, too.
Total. And really what she did was chronologically went through this guy's treatment of this issue. How is that slander? Mm-hmm. And maybe calling Trump as a grifter, there's never been a more appropriate moniker.
Yeah. Adam Schiff has...
Mutt. I like Mutt.
Yeah. Adam Schiff has published an opinion piece in USA Today where he calls for Attorney General William Barr to resign because he lied to Congress about the Mueller report.
Well, in the halls of Congress, it's not all BS, Darren. Mm-hmm. We have, for example, our hero going after, pause intended there, going after the United States, blaming them for the devastation of Venezuela. Mm-hmm. Days before, she had a direct quote that, Trump, you don't need to come here and give us your amended viewpoint. I'm going to check the actual wording on that. I believe that's your demented views are not welcome here, says...
that's Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota.
Exactly. So, know, and this is the one who chastised. You want to talk about bringing out truth into the light of our Congress. She went after Elliott Abrams and the long record of imperialism that he initiated, and now he's associated with Venezuela. We have some truth going on. Enough to save democracy? I don't know. Because what Barr has done is a straight-on, frontal attack on democracy. When you refuse and you leave your chair empty, when you're called upon Congress to testify and you're the AG for the United States of America, did you see the Democrats eating buckets of chicken?
Yeah, I forget which congressman that was. Brought a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken to the hearing and brought a porcelain chicken because Barr wouldn't show up Thursday when he was called to testify in front of the House.
Is that smearing?
No,
of course
it's
not.
It's telling the truth.
Exactly.
But nowadays, telling the truth is a smear. If you tell the truth about whatever favorite corporate-owned Democrat you support,
I'm glad you gave me that opening.
That's a smear.
Give me 15 seconds because I was called a smearer, a verb that really isn't proper, okay, for pointing out some facts about Joe, the recent flavor establishment Democrat Biden. Mm-hmm. Like he agrees unilaterally with the coup effort that's going on in Venezuela, that he was used exclusively to help credit card companies with legislation, that he has – this is on record. You can go and get this point on the Internet. I like Cheney, he said. Mm-hmm. He was really nice to me, a war criminal. He was really nice to me when – I took over the office of vice president. He was very helpful. He likes Dick Cheney. It goes on. It goes on. You have to wonder, could you get a worse lookalike to Hillary Clinton than Joe Biden? Mm-hmm. Could you? It is a terrible nomination. And I hope people will realize when you're calling an establishment Dem, when you're calling a corporate Dem, that's not slander. There are 3 candidates who are not taking corporate donations. Bernie, Tulsi, and Gravel.
That's it.
The rest of them, including our little cute guy down in South Bend, who
Pete
just
Buttigieg.
enlisted the economic team that was with Hillary Clinton to get him going.
It's funny you mentioned Pete Buttigieg. We have a story out of Michigan that's tied into the Pete Buttigieg campaign. And, Jack, you were the one that kind of, when we talked about this off air on Monday, you had the thought, something doesn't smell right here. Because I actually tracked this kid down. Here's the funny part. When a story comes out like what came out, and it basically, here's what happened. On Monday, there was a post to Medium.com where somebody used the name of Hunter Kelly and accused Pete Buttigieg of sexual assault. Well, we tracked this kid down. We were going to contact him, but we wanted to wait